And then great little thing in the system is called side panels. And anytime you're in any screen in our system and you said, it would really be nice if I could see some additional information. So this one says equipment service details. This is actually telling me all of the individual line items and all the different times that this piece of equipment was serviced. You can see here, I can identify what type of work order was it. Was it preventive maintenance or was it a repair based on something that the customer did? You can also see I have the ability to determine, is this billable or not? So that'll be on a line item basis. If the labor, if the travel, if the filter that was used, you can determine exactly, was it billable or was it not billable? So some people want to see this in very fine detail. Other people just want to see all the different work orders. Again, if I did need to get to more detail, I could do that. But for a lot of my clients, it's not only taking and seeing the detail, but now putting some dollars to it. So this is my last period, labor, parts, charges. This is my period to date. And again, same thing, year to date. What have I done related to parts, labor, anything else along those lines? You could also see here, I can keep any sort of files that I want. So any sort of manuals or anything else, I've got the capabilities to store it here. It's a real strength of the product is to being able to store files, not only here on a header level, but also on a line item level. And then the final piece of this is actually the maintenance schedule, the preventive maintenance. That's part of our system. So when you're looking at a piece of equipment, there's a bunch of things. Here, I've got different services based on hours. And then I've got some other services that are based on days. So here we give you the capabilities to do that. We also talk about what is that increment. And here they're pretty self-explanatory. But then we also say, well, how are we going to do this? Well, this was a break-in. So this is a one-time type of service. This is actually done on days. Okay, so we can always just keep it on that fixed level. But for some of my clients, like this 50-hour service, what I want to do is I want to do it on a relative schedule. Because what happens is if I don't get to this service until hour 60, I want to do the next one at 110. I don't want to do it at 100. You can also see here is when do I want to be notified and when do I want the work order to be generated. So this is telling me on these three services at 40 hours, 90 hours, that's when I want that work order to be generated so that my service chief can look at the schedule, look at the technicians, and then schedule it appropriately. And here you can see we've also got, by days. This is saying 14 days beforehand. And because these are all date driven, we can tell you when the next service is going to be and when the last service was being. As I previously mentioned, here are files. So here's, my manual related to it. But as we go into other screens, you'll see that I can keep attachments on every single line item. So if you've got checklists, if you've got other information that you want to have access to quickly and easily, this is what will give you the capabilities to do that, as well as to store any notes. So the notes can be kept on a line item basis. They can also be set on a header level or on a master record level.